Director of the center, and he's going to give this tour if you'd like to join him. Did you need a brochure, sir?
Sure.
There you go. Come on in. Thank you.
All right, everybody, welcome. This is the Emergency Operations Center, and Russ Bergen is the Emergency Management Director, and he'll start the tour off.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming. Hi. As Brian said, you are standing in what is the Emergency Operations Center. We would utilize this room should there be a disaster and emergency that is beyond any individual community's capability of dealing with it of some sort. If they need additional assets, we would open up the EOC. If we're looking at something that is multi-jurisdictional in nature, we'll open up the EOC. There are spaces around this table pre-designated for the type of people we would bring in, or the type of staff areas we would bring in based on what disaster we're dealing with. This is actually a multi-agency coordination center, if you will. And the idea here is to provide the next higher headquarters between the response in the field. They come through the EOC with their request for additional assets. We go to the state or the federal government from this location in order to obtain these assets so they can do their job. The folks in here do not tell the people in the ground really how to do their job. They're here to be for logistical and technical support for those people on the ground. Staff members that may be called in here would be folks from county, organization, sheriff, health department, secondary roads, representatives. Would have folks from the state in here, perhaps from Homeland Security, from Iowa State Patrol, federal folks from FEMA. We have places at the table designated with partners we've already worked with that come out of the Coast Guard, from the Corps. We also folks from TSA, Transportation Security. We work with those, FBI. All of these people we have dealt with and are included in our plans. And if necessary, they would be out here to help support a coordinated response to whatever that disaster is, to lessen the impact of what is going on the ground. Also bring in our partners from the NGOs such as Salvation Army and the Red Cross so that they could know what's going on, provide their technical expertise, and also we could coordinate with them for the assets they already have. As I said, it's a logistical thing, and the best thing to do is for sort of economy of assets. If we didn't have the EOC and there was 10 different things going on in a jurisdiction, we might have 10 different people out there asking for the 10 of the same widgets, and all of a sudden the state is scouring and trying to find 100 of them, when we could actually only need a percentage of that. That's where this comes in. It helps save money, helps save time and effort through an EOC, be able to bring in just what is necessary to apply it to what is needed now. And then when the next group over here needs it, we know that we have these assets available here. They'll just shift them over to what needs to be done. One last thing, the JIC, Joint Information Center, is a great concept under the NIMS, under the National Incident Management System. Idea is we have an organization of public information people that work together, have worked together, but if we have something large that affects it, maybe it's Quad City-wide area, both sides of the river, if we bring those people together, they learn what is actually going on the ground by being a part of this office, being an adjunct to the EOC. They then get they get timely and correct information which they can develop a news release, so that when that release goes out, the public should feel confident in the fact they're getting the right information, they're getting it quickly, and if they tune to one station or the next, they're going to get the same. It's going to be a consistent message which helps people deal with disasters immediately. Any questions? Sir?
Just for instance, let's just say we had a major tornado that hit Andalusia, came across, took out Buffalo, maybe went up through Walken, McCows and that, how would this function? I mean, say Andalusia is first, I mean, what would you bring in, what community from them, and how would you handle something like that? I mean, a major tornado that touched down and pretty well wiped out half the towns.
What if it wiped out this building? They could do that.
This
It's
building.
a hardened building.
It's a hardened building, but if we could not use the assets here, we do have backup locations pre-designated for both the EOCs and communications, so.
This building can take minimum winds of 150 to 180 miles an hour, and there's two areas which we'll show you that can take the direct impact of an F5 tornado. If this is taken out, we also have a backup center that we'll be reconfiguring the old dispatch centers to do that.
Do you have a basement?
No.
To get back to your question now, they'll handle it across the river within their own jurisdiction. I mean, states being states and FEMA designations change from Illinois to Iowa. But with that tornado crossover here, we would be coordinating. We may not have this fully operational with all those people I told you about, but we'll be having state people in here and FEMA people probably in here coordinating with it, because we want the state assets available to us with DOT to help on debris cleanup. We want highway patrol working with our sheriff's office for traffic management and protection of damaged properties out there. The health department would be involved in. So that's the type of organizations be here to help provide assistance to the folks in the field. The social service people will be in here to help provide, additional housing for people on a temporary basis. That type of thing would be we hate to see it, I hope we don't see it,
Yeah.
but that'd be a good example of how this would operate.
It's maybe for Scott County then, but if you could, then the other, like across the river, they would get some help. I mean, FEMA would come here to coordinate what would be needed over
No,
there.
no, two separate states, two
They have,
separate
yeah,
fees.
they have their own
They have their
EOC.
own-
They do, okay,
They have
their-
I didn't know that.
In the interest of time, we got to get moving. We've got about 7 stations
Yep.
to go along with, so
Let's follow me.
Thank you.
Thank you, good question. Thank you.
They don't share, they don't share. They don't share their choice of things.
You ready? Come on in.
Hey, what's happening? Wow, look at this place. There's gonna be a lot of people coming, so I'll just get down here.
Come on in.
This is the mechanical plant for Scott Emergency Communications Center. We're very proud of a lot of the features that are in this room right here, as well as in the entire building. The first is that this is going to be a LEED certified building. We have to file the paperwork with the U.S. Green Building Council. LEED stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. And it allowed our architects and our engineers to look at the building design a little bit differently as we went through that design process. The first way we looked at it a little bit differently is we focused a little more attention than we normally would have on the energy efficiency of this facility. This facility is heated and cooled by a geothermal well field and geothermal heat pump, which is the beige piece of equipment that you see down that center aisle. There are actually 300-foot deep geothermal wells that are drilled on site here. We take advantage of that constant 55-degree earth temperature, to heat the building in the winter and also cool the building in the summer.
Did you say 70?
70 wells.
70 wells, 300 feet deep.
Correct. The second feature of the building that we looked at from an energy efficiency standpoint is the lighting system. If we were to walk out of this room within 5 minutes, all these lights would go out. Each room has an occupancy sensor in it, so we make sure that we don't burn any lights unnecessarily. Some of the larger rooms that actually have daylight into those rooms actually have daylight sensors that will actually dim the lights and reduce the amount of energy being used to light those rooms when there's light from the outside that's available. The second lead component is how the building construction and design are respectful of our environment. We use a lot of recycled materials in the building components for this facility. 75% of the construction waste that went off the site during the construction of this building was recycled rather than going to our landfills. The storm water is retained on this site. You may have noticed some rain gardens and some bioswales around the building. We're not dumping that rain runoff into our storm sewer system nor into our local creeks. It's all retained here on site, which is better for our environment. Then we reduce the amount of parking that we normally would have built for a building of this size as well, choosing instead to share overflow parking with the city of Davenport next door. The third lead component is sort of the respect for the occupants of the building, ensuring that there is a good work environment for those folks. And we did that by allowing for a lot of natural light. You'll notice in the dispatch center and the EOC, we try to get as much natural light. That also reduces our lighting load, but it makes for a better work environment for those that are working in here. As well as views to the outside. There's studies that have shown that that reduces the amount of stress that people experience as well. We're using environmentally friendly cleaning products in this facility as we do in all county managed facilities. And the entire building was designed with ergonomics in mind. The last thing I want to touch on real quickly is our partnership with Mid-American Energy. We met with Mid-American Energy early in the design process, and their consultants actually worked side by side with our architects and engineers